So, Rob, I gotta hear about this deer story. There's a lot of components to it, so let's just get right into it.
Yeah, so it's a little more than a deer story, but so several years ago, like maybe 15 years ago now, on the farm, we sort of started thinking about like, okay, how do we make improvements to our sustainability efforts by looking beyond the borders of the vineyard and the vegetable ground. And so we have a couple thousand acres of ground that's outside of our production. And we've really focused on building a great habitat for animals there, for animals and beneficial insects and all those things.
So it's like a perimeter.
Yeah, it's like the perimeter of the farm, right?
That's
it's
great.
in these canyons on both sides of the farm. It's kind of surrounded by this canyon, and there's water that runs down it. And
Sounds nice.
it's really cool, except for we've done a little too good of a job. And so now we have a lot of deer, which means we have a lot of deer that like grapes, and they tend to focus on our ripest grapes, which is not always the ideal for
Sure.
harvest, right? So, and there's a lot of deer. So we decided that the thing to do was start chasing the deer out of the vineyards, and we have these cannons and they're propane bottles, and they're like they're supposed to make the sound of a gun going off. And so I go down there one evening to check our cannon and see how it's doing, and the cannon's going off, and boom, and like 3 rows over, there's like 5 does sleeping on the ground. So cannons aren't working so
Not
well.
really.
Not really. Apparently,
They kind of figured that out.
They figured that out.
Right,
Like, deer
right.
are pretty smart. So,
Sure.
so we decided that we're going to have to harass these deer to get them out of there. So we're chasing them.
Mm-hmm.
And I own a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I've got a couple buddies with me, and we might have been drinking a little wine.
Yeah,
Maybe,
it happens
it happens.
sometimes. Yeah,
We're out on the farm,
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
Gravel roads, dirt, and so we're kind of chasing the deer, and they get right up to the edge of kind of the vineyard and the creek, and they're stopped. So we're going to have to chase them a little bit further. So we decided that we can cross the creek, but all we needed to do is to get some momentum. Momentum.
I like where
It's
this is
momentum.
going.
That's right. Yeah, momentum will
Yeah.
just carry you right through these problems.
Right.
But unfortunately, what the momentum did was carry us right into the other side of the bank.
Whoops.
Yeah, yep. And so me and the 3 of my buddies were all sitting in the front seat. So that was pretty tough on the Jeep.
Yeah.
I'm still fixing the fender to put it kind of back in place every now and then a year later, and the Jeep still smells like a creek. So yeah, it's a
That's funny. Just
problem.
a little reminder about what not to do.
Momentum is not always your friend.
That's right. Good stuff.